So we decided to gather a sample of workers and study their years of education and how much they earn. We obtained the following regression line. In the regression above, we obtained an R-square of 0.9. We were not sure about assumption 5, the conditional mean zero assumption, but since R-square was so high, we decided that probably had nothing to worry about. Do you think we were justified in believing that? What do you guys think? What does a high R-square mean? What does a high R-square mean in the simple linear regression? R-square is equal to 0.9. In a previous question that I probably have a video on, we also shown that in the simple linear regression, this is also equal to the correlation of education with wages, all of this squared. So a high R-square simply means that there is a high correlation between education and wages. Okay? The conditional mean assumption, A5, tells you that the expectation of the error term conditional on education is equal to 0. In other words, you having knowledge of education tells you nothing about the average of the error term. Okay? That would generally happen, or this will imply that education is uncorrelated with the error term. So correlation between education and error term is also 0. This is an assumption. Why is it an assumption? Because it's talking about the epsilon, the true error term, which you don't know. Is education correlated with anything else that causes high wages? Or his high level of education causes it with anything else that could correlate with high wages? Of course, loads of things. Okay? Your level of education is probably very closely related with the level of your parents' education. Not always, but net it is. Okay? If we take all the LSE parents, okay, and compare their level of education with all the parents at, I don't know, London South Bank or something of that sort, we would probably find a higher level of education. Mainly because, for example, South Bank is more of a professional school, right? So the fact that there's going to be a lot of variables on this error term that will explain wages tells you that there's going to be probably some omitted variable bias. It would be crazy to think that there is no omitted variable bias here, just because you have a high R-square. A high R-square has nothing to do with an A5 assumption. Absolutely nothing. R-square could be tiny, and the A5 assumption might hold, and R-square could be huge, and the A5 assumption might not hold. Has nothing to do with it, okay? So this question here is really trying to frame you. How am I framing it? I'm giving you something that's good, that's really too good, like a high R-square, and I'm extrapolating that because this is good, the other good stuff must also hold as well, okay? Completely unrelated to each other. So R-square tells you nothing about the A5 assumption is the moral of the story on a question like this.